Welcome everyone. Welcome back to our second half of our session. We've been checking if the system is up, and unfortunately it's still being maintained at this point, so we'll proceed with our video demonstrations afterwards. So I will be manning the computer there, so I'll have better control of the videos, but you just focus on the screen and watch as we go along. I'm going to demonstrate at this point the how. Okay, how are you actually going to do everything that I've told you that you're supposed to be doing earlier. All right, so I'm just going to go to the videos. Oops, nope. Okay. Let me just bring up my videos. Okay, let's start with the big one. Approval level completion. Let's take off the sound. All right, just maximize video. There we go. We still haven't been able to figure out how to get rid of the green borders there, so please bear with that. I need the controls. Hang on, let me just resize so that I can see the video controls. There we go. Maximize. Okay, so as we said before, this is where it all starts. You're going to receive this email from Toastmasters International. Okay, just as before, it says, I'll just highlight it over here. A member submitted a level completion request. So that's the first bit. And then you can use this. You can use the links to go to Basecamp, or you can just do it yourself. Okay, so now once you've done that and you see all the details I've highlighted in there, like this is Brenna Watts, she's finished level 2, effective coaching. Okay, I did get permission from Brenna, so hopefully there's no one raising any privacy concerns. It's okay with her. I'm using her as an example. Okay, so now this is me just logging in to Basecamp. Okay, you can see I'm logged in. All right. So this is where, as I was mentioning before, how do you get in? Like, where do you go to go into Basecamp? And it's this. Automatically, the system knows that you are a Basecamp manager because we submit our officer list to Toastmasters International, so they know. Just choose the club that you want to administer. So for those of us who are dual members and you have your VPs of 2 clubs, you will unfortunately have to be using the switch select your club functionality. You'll have to switch your home clubs each time that you want to do level approval completions. If you are a Basecamp manager of only 1 club, then you don't have to worry about that. In my case, I'm just choosing Aspire Toastmaster, where I was a Basecamp manager, and automatically you can see below here, there's a button. That's a button only for Basecamp managers. If I'm not a Basecamp manager, I don't see that button. Okay? So that's the secret access into the system. So once you click on that button, this is the home page that you'll see. There's just 3 functions here. And the third box is tutorials. So if you need further resources, further help, further demos after this workshop, that's one option for you. You can go into Basecamp Manager, click on that third blue box there, and you'll see some resources from Toastmasters International that will help you on how to use Basecamp Manager. We are going to be focusing on the first 2 blue boxes. So right now, I'm going to go to pending requests. Okay? That's the first one that you're going to look at. And you can see here, I have a record from Brenna Watts. So for those who have difficulty seeing that, looking at this is requested by Brenna Watt from Aspire Toastmasters. And if I look here, what is it for? It's level 2 in her path, effective coaching. So that's what's being asked of me as a Basecamp manager. Please approve this request. And I have here at the very end 2 options. Yes or no. Okay? That's really all it boils down to. So this is where the check and balances comes in. So remember, again, people can game the system, and it's our job as Basecamp managers to make sure that they're not gaming the system so that they can benefit from their Toastmasters experience. So you need to verify first. Please do not just click on the check just so that you can just get this over with in 2 minutes and then move on with your day. Really, at this point, you need to verify. Did this member really give all these projects? Yeah. Okay, so we'll give you some pointers on how to do that. Okay? So this is where the VP really comes in handy, because the VPE has all the agendas. So the VP would then know that, oh, Emmy actually gave a speech on this particular date in our club. That's one way to do it. Okay? Yes, question?
If that member actually going to give a speech on another club, somebody said that we can't ask for the records or anything. So is that true? Is it that to get a sort of like a signature from the agenda from that VP elevator from the other club?
No, I didn't mention anything about getting signatures. I mean, that's really a process, I guess, that depends on each club. But yes, okay, so the question really is, how do we handle dual members? Okay, people are giving speeches in various clubs. I'm a good example. I give speeches in various clubs. So how do we do that? So in that particular case, what we need to do is the one approving this would then request from me, the member, can I see your evaluation forms? Right? Every time that we give a speech, we print out an evaluation form from Basecamp, and we give that to the evaluator. And then they fill it up. Yes?
Can I just clarify something? At VPE training, it was advised that one of the policies of Toastmasters International is that as an officer, you can't request evaluation forms from your members. I'm afraid I don't exactly have the details on why, but
that's interesting.
Policy. It was recommended that you ask for a signed agenda from their club instead of asking for
Okay, perhaps for privacy purposes, that's not. I mean, for me, it's just a matter of just citing. As long as you don't even need to read the comments, as long as it says on the heading that this person gave the speech on this date and looks like it's filled up, then that's fine. But apparently, thank you, Michael, for bringing that to our attention. That if that's not a policy, is it absolutely restricted or just not recommended?
I've been asking for copies of the agenda. They've done work at other clubs. That's not the agenda. Ask for a copy of their evaluation.
Yeah. We ask for an evaluation as well.
I think perhaps as a policy, they might just discourage it just because of maybe people are just picky about privacy issues. I mean, at the end of the day, an evaluation form is a private matter. It's not necessarily for public consumption. But I guess among us, I mean, we're more mature people. We know how to respect things like that and treat them properly. So perhaps that is just a ruling because they want a clear direction, a clear statement. And we can certainly comply with that. Yes, Robert, you have something to say?
Call the other educational vice president and ask.
That's another thing, yeah. Coordinate with the...
And if the response is, who?
When? Huh?
We're all pretty honest, so don't make too much of a.
And that,
Sure. Yeah, but sure. Well, but this is why you have the request an outside project.
yes,
So this way you get to see these things.
yes.
And nothing's ever 100% foolproof.
I agree.
Have a conversation later. But
Yes, Emmy, you want to add something?
yes, can the agenda itself, because you are assigned to do a speech, and then you have the evaluator there. Do you think the agenda is better because, like you said, evaluation form is kind of intrusive to each person's. They might not want to see what
I'm sorry, just for the benefit of the recording, I think it's good. the people watching the recording, they won't hear your questions.
Okay.
So I think it will be good to pass the mic around.
Okay, question is it better to have the agenda of each club because it does have the speech, the speaker itself, the name of the speaker, and then the evaluator, instead of having the evaluation form, as like you said, that might be an intrusion to privacy?
Sure. My answer to that is yes, that is an option. For me, any of those are valid evidence that the member actually did the speech. So and I think that's why Toastmasters International gave that as a recommendation, because that's a safer option. It's not very intrusive. It's fairly public because everyone attending a meeting knows about that agenda. So if that is an option that's available to you and it's easy to get, then by all means, you can ask for that. Okay, that's one option. The other option is, again, the evaluation forms. And I trust that we're all part of a great organization where respect and integrity are our values. So I trust that we, as members, are practicing that. And so we would be handling these evaluations properly. So for me, that as well is a viable option.
Yeah, just an additional comment. I started with the traditional way. So I completed the CC manual, and basically the book has all the different evaluation from all the different projects. So then, in a way for me to get the certificate, it's been handled to someone, or to the BPE in my.
That's true.
So then, why is now different?
That's true. That's true, right? We give the whole manual, and they can actually go through and ruffle through all the evaluations. That's true. So that's why I don't see why. I can understand from their perspective that they might have given a policy just to make everything clear globally, and they have to cater for that for people who have privacy issues. But then again, in practice, I believe that our organization values integrity and respect. And if we're misusing those evaluation forms, then we're not living out those values. So I trust that every member in this room and in our clubs, our officers, they can practice those.
But with the CC manual, you have a summary at the back where the VPE signed off after your speech.
Sure.
You don't have to see the evaluation. Like we have, maybe you can have a summary form where every time you do it,
True.
you can sign off and do your summary.
That's true. That's another mechanism. But that form doesn't exist, and so you'll have to draft it somehow and then print it out. If that's how you want to do it, then that's perfectly fine. That's another mechanism.
So 90% of our members are only in one club, so not an issue. And the people that are duals and doing stuff in both clubs, you've got an idea of how often they're going to speak. And suddenly, if they appear to have spoken 5 times in 1 month, you get suspicious.
There might be.
It's not too big a thing of this. It's
I mean, no,
and if you got a question, you call the other club or ask. Don't carve rules in stone where we don't need to.
I tend to agree with that. For me, it's more about options. So let's give our members options here, not be too stringent, because a lot of the options presented allow us to practice respect and integrity anyway. So yes, you can do agendas, you can do evaluation forms, you can call them people and then just trust that they're saying, yeah, it's okay. There are various means really, and I don't think it's practical to enforce just one way to do it. It really depends. And I think ultimately it's on the member, the dual member, to provide that proof, to satisfy the Basecamp manager's request. Because ultimately you are approving it, so you have to be satisfied that yes, when I tick this, I'm satisfied this person did. And it's incumbent upon that member to prove that he or she did it. Okay? Yes, Henry.
I was going to say, as a member of multiple clubs as well, I'm responsible for when I complete a project to let the club know and ask them, do you want to send my evaluation form? It's a two-way street, but I'll make the effort and say, I've completed this level, if you want my evaluation form, I'll send it to you. Because I know other clubs have asked me the same thing. I know before that Sue asked me for the class that I belong to, I asked them to pay all the paperwork because she wanted to have a look at it. Trust is one thing, but integrity is another.
Sure.
So it's very important that we actually do the right thing. As a dual member, I'm proactive, and I tell them, you want my evaluation form, I'm ready for you. So
Thank you.
I don't have to wait for them to ask me if I'm ready as a dual member.
Thank you for that. And again, it's upon the incumbent on the member to actually show the proof. I like what you said. I also believe the same thing. You trust people, but you have to verify. Trust but verify. Yes.
You do have the option to upload everything to your action pathways, and under your pathway you can scan the documents and upload them
Sure.
to your pathway, so you've got a digital copy of all of those things there.
All right. So there's a suggestion that we upload all the scanned evaluation forms into Basecamp. Unfortunately, that option is not viable because that is only your copy. Whatever you upload into Basecamp in your folders there, that's your own private stash. No one else can see it. So as a means of validating, I can't validate it personally.
But you can access them.
No, I cannot access them. Oh, you the member, that's right.
Access them and then send them to the beginning.
That's true. That's true. It's at the end of the day, it's a storage mechanism. But then again, so is Dropbox. So is, OneDrive, Google Drive.
Great. I think I'd just like to know where the comment has come from about not being able to ask for the evaluation.
Okay, can we hand the mic back to Mike? So there's a question from the board. So I'm just repeating your question for the benefit of those on Zoom. So there's a question about where did it come from that Toastmasters International actually discourage asking members for the evaluation forms. Michael, if you'd like to.
Sorry, what was the question?
So the question is, so Sue was want to ask, where did the point come out where Toastmasters International was discouraging VPEs from asking evaluation forms from members?
I'm sorry to say that I don't exactly know the details. The person who does know is Julie Bell, and I believe we are trying to get in contact with her at the moment.
Okay.
All right. I'm saying this is a policy because even in Basecamp Manager, you can't access evaluation forms that members have uploaded onto the system.
That's true.
So I would presume that is a follow-up from the procedure in person.
Okay.
Sorry, that's all I know.
That's okay, Mike. Don't mean to put you on the spot there. But yes, at the end of the day, the way I take it, again, it's just Toastmasters International providing an overriding framework that applies globally because they serve a global audience. And therefore, there are some people who are particular about that, and therefore they provide that provision saying that, yes, we don't recommend that you ask evaluation forms to protect people's privacy. So, but again, I've been saying that in our club, I see great leaders in this room. I believe that we know what respect and integrity is all about. So I trust that we can handle these things. And ultimately, it's on the incumbent of the members to show proof, whether they actually show the evaluation forms or not, or it's just one method. Okay? I'll be talking about the approve external requests because, again, it was pointed out that's another mechanism. It is, in fact, another mechanism, the approve, to show your VPE that I'm giving my speech in another club. So I'll go through that in a bit as well. Let me show you what you can do here in Basecamp. So did you know that you can, as a Basecamp manager, you can actually, you can actually see where your members are in terms of their curriculum. So on the top right there, you can see I'm actually typing in Brenna's name. Okay? And the system knows, so it can filter her out. Again, this feature here is incumbent on the dual members choosing you as their home clubs. So if you say, so let's say in Robert's case, he's a member of multiple clubs. If you can't see his record, then it's because he's not in your home club. He hasn't chosen you as his home club, so that's why you can't see him. Okay, so if they chose you as the home club, then you can see their profile. So this, I'm looking at the Basecamp profile of Brenna. I can see her transcript, and I can look at her curriculum, so I can see where she's at. That's another way. Of course, this information is not conclusive. You just know that she did complete it in the system, but whether she actually did it, you need that further information.
And also, it does happen. I have submitted 1 or 2 completion requests before I actually did the project. Hit the click button too many times.
Yes.
No, it happens. So
I'm sure it does, Robert. No, but I've seen, in all seriousness, I've seen that happen as well. I had a scenario where I have one member in my club, and I was ready right there and then to present him with a certificate. I was really excited. Like, I printed out level 1 completion. And then on the day itself, on that meeting where I was going to present him with that certificate, I saw his name in the agenda, and he was giving a level, project number 3 of level 1. And I'm like, oh. And I quickly hit the certificate. So
in my own defense, it wasn't a level completion, it was a project completion.
So it does happen. So you'll get the occasional people, and I trust that most people have respect and integrity. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in this great organization. So they would have done that. So it's our job as well to ensure that they complete it before they can move on. They actually do it. Yes, Robert?
Is it possible to look at everybody's progress individually, or do you have to go in each one at a time?
Through the reports, you can see everyone's progress.
All right, they've added that now.
Yeah, it's in the reports. But here is a way to just look at it on an individual basis. Yes, some more questions. I wish we could pass the mic just for the sake of those who on Zoom so they can hear.
At the level 2 there, it says 75% complete.
Yes.
When you click on view details, what details do you get?
Okay, so the 75% completion there that you see here. So the question was, why is there 75% in level 2? And the reason is because, based on the software, there's actually 4 modules in that level. There's the 3 project speeches, and then the level completion. The system treats that level completion request as a module. And so therefore, because it hasn't been approved yet, it's not completed. So Brenna, as far as the system is concerned, completed 3 out of the 4 modules in that level. Once I approve her level completion request, this will become 100%. And then she'll be able to proceed to level 3. Okay? Any further questions? Yes? Mic to Sue? No. Oh, you.
So sorry, my question was, when you click on view details, what details do you get?
Oh, you get to see the normal paths. So the project. So let me just click on that right now. I think I captured that in the video. So here, I'm going to click on view details. And there, oops. There, that's what I see. So there's 4 items here, as you can see. And 3 of them have been completed, the 3 projects. And this is just waiting approval from me. Once I approve it, this will be ticked, and that will be 100%. Okay? In case you're wondering, the 35% here, it's the past progress. The system uses the word curriculum, but actually that's really the past progress. That's how far she is in that 35, the level 5 projects. Yes?
Thanks, Ray. I actually missed how you got to this section.
Okay, let me just rewind.
Can you go back to this to access my pathway something?
Okay, so show me how far back. Okay, so from here. Okay, so just a quick review. This is where we went in to approve Brenna's request, and all I did is on the upper right corner, I just looked for her. I just typed her name in the search engine, and then I clicked on her.
So before that, where were you then? Which menu were you in before you get into this menu?
before I got into view pending requests, I was in the home page. So if I just go back.
Yeah, but
Can you search from anywhere?
Yes, if I type the name right now here, I can search the name. That search engine is global. So Emmy here, I just go the home page, I just click on this pending requests box, and that brings me to this page here. And then from here, I just go to the search, and I can search Brenna's name. I can then click on her transcript. Okay, there's a transcript button here. There's a transcript link up there. I click on that, and then I can see her education transcript. It's effective coaching, that's her path. I click on the open curriculum button, and then I can see this. I can see her progress. I click on view details, and I can see the 3 speeches that she's supposed to have done for her path. I can then ask her, okay, can you show me evidence that you've done all 3 speeches? If I'm the VPE and she's only a member of my club, then that's easy. I can just quickly look at the agendas. If I was there and I heard those 3 speeches, then that's also definitive proof. Like, you were there. Okay? So there's really various ways to verify that the member has done it. Yeah, the best would be you're there to hear it. Otherwise, you have agendas, you have evaluation forms, you can call people. There's really a lot of ways to verify. The point is, verify. Trust, but verify. Okay, so now that you've done your investigation, yes?
Sorry, just before you move on. Is this, you are looking in awaiting approval, is that correct? A pending of your approval?
Yes.
Well, pending. Is that the only place you can find out what your members have done? Because if they've not sent something forward, they're not going to be in there, are they?
Yes, that's correct. So if they're not yet at the level completion request stage, you're interested in finding out where they are. That can be done through the reports.
Okay.
So I'll show you that later. Reports will tell you where exactly people are.
Thank you.
Ray, you know, it's
Yeah, can we give the mic so the people on Zoom can see?
No, it's not a question, it's just a statement. You know, it's 8:50 in America, Denver, 2nd of August,
Yeah.
but they're going to be outage on the 3rd of August at midnight. So do you think we can?
The system's still down. We've checked already with Michael. We've already done the conversion. So it's down from 8 in the morning this morning until 2 in the afternoon. Yes?
Sorry, just following on. Can you look at a member's transcript at any time? They don't have
Yes.
to have submitted a...
Yes, the answer is yes.
Thank you.
Yes, you can go in anytime. You can look for them. You can see their transcript. You can see where they are anytime at all. That's in your power.
That's all right.
Okay?
I can't see it.
All right, so now what do we do? The assumption now here is at this point, they've done their job, you're ready to approve. Or maybe you're ready to disapprove. I'll show you both cases. So let's just progress the video. Okay, so I'm back here in the view pending request, and I have 2 options, approve or disapprove. Whether I click on approve or disapprove, okay, here in this case I'm clicking the deny button. So I'm given an option to add comments. Okay? So I can add comments and then just record whatever my reasons. I'm denying because you didn't do this speech, whatever reason. Just now, it's good that you document that, and I highly recommend you do that. But just because you document it doesn't necessarily mean the member's going to be notified. The comments here, it's funny, they don't get sent, they don't get emailed out. At least I haven't seen it myself. They don't get emailed out. They are recorded in the system, and I'll show you in a minute where they are. It's pretty obscure, but they are recorded. So for auditing purposes, I would highly recommend you always put something in there. Put a reason, put your name as well, and your position. Okay, that's another thing. Because the system doesn't store that this one was made by Robert. It doesn't store his username there. So if Robert was to disapprove something, then I highly recommend put his name, Robert, and then put your position, president. So then it's also clear when it gets audited that, okay, this was disapproved by someone who had the capacity to do so. And then therefore that person's accountable for this action. Yes?
But just on a politeness scale and saving your bacon if you're wrong, I would suggest you contact the person and talk to them. And I do mean talk.
Absolutely, you're right. So this
Before you do this.
Absolutely. So Robert's saying that yes, you should talk with people, and I highly agree. This is more like the formality portion. But before any of the formalities, really the decent thing to do is to have a chat with the member and say, sorry, I'm actually going to disagree with you. I'm going to disapprove your level of completion request because of so and so. And help, and even more than that, just help the member complete it. Maybe you can say, I'll disapprove it, or I'll hold off approval now. I want you to give this project in our next meeting. Okay, we'll schedule you right now. We'll put you in that next meeting. And then when you do that, I'll have complete approval. That could be another way to resolve it, rather than a straight-out denial.
So the reason that you would...
Can we have the mic here, please? Yes?
So the reason that
Thanks,
you
Maury.
would reject approving that request, is that because you haven't seen either a signed agenda or an evaluation form?
Perhaps, yes. You don't have the definitive proof, so therefore you cannot, in good conscience, approve the person to go to the next level. So that's why you could deny it. But again, going back to Robert's point, perhaps rather than outright denying it on the first go, let's have a chat with the member and say, Sue, you have a request. I can't approve it right now. So because I don't have evidence that you've completed your third project. So why don't, and then if they agree, yeah, I didn't do it yet, then you work with them for a solution. You say, Sue, how about we schedule you to do your third project in our next meeting? Then when you do it, we can tick it off. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. So the mechanism's there, but I would just highly, again, prefer that we be positive about these things. They happen. So let's just work with the member to get a solution and then give them the tick.
Great.
Yes, question?
We have a question from chat.
Yes.
What can you say to the member? What if they didn't meet the objectives of their speech?
Okay, that's good. That's a good question. So what if they didn't meet the objectives of the speech? I think, well, I'll let you speak in a minute, Robert, but let me give my 2 cents worth in that. I think, for example, that kind of comment should be from the evaluator themselves. I think the evaluator should make the call. Having said that, what if the evaluator's not that experienced and then you actually saw them give the project speech and you feel personally that they didn't meet the objectives? It's a sticky situation. I'm not sure. Unless it's, for me personally, unless it's completely obvious that they didn't. Let's say if they're supposed to give a research and presentation and they gave a speech and there's no research, there's no presentation, they just gave a speech, and you, in all good conscience, you feel like, yeah, there's no way that could fulfill the objectives. Then perhaps, again, have a quick conversation with that person and say, sorry, Henry, I know you did this, but I feel personally that you didn't fulfill the objectives. Would you mind giving it again? Potentially. Have a private conversation with that person. We'll give Robert a chance to say something first.
This is the oldest problem in Toastmasters.
Can we give him the mic so that our members in Zoom can hear? This came from Zoom, so
I've got another question from chat. So.
that's fine. We'll give it a second.
Yeah, this question about whether a project met the requirements and when we passed them is one of the oldest questions in Toastmasters. Did you meet my standards? That's a question we don't ask. It's one of the biggest arguments, and there's lots of debate on it. I have talked to members several times
about, as Ray just said, don't think you really learned enough in this project. I don't think you really tried. But of course you can't say it that way. But do you sign off on their completion? Answer, yes. And you might argue this, you certainly can, this is an opinion. But historically, we never give a mark. We never score members on the quality of their speech. We never pass-fail. We evaluate them, but we never pass-fail. Now, I know of clubs in certain countries where there's a show of hands after a speech on whether or not the club considers this person to have met their objectives, and they get into great debates on it. It does happen. But let's look at this from a motivation point of view. We want to keep our members coming back for more. We want to help them. What's the best way to achieve that? And the general answer, if you have to give one, is always mark it off as completed and always motivate them to try it again.
Okay. Just want to make sure that people in the Zoom chat heard that, but let me just reiterate Rob's response. Again, he's voicing his opinion that we should mark it off, even if we don't personally believe, because again, it's all boils down to personal standards, and everyone has different standards. What if your standard is this level, but for others, this is enough for them? It's a really dicey question to answer, and I don't think there's really an authoritative way. And so Rob presented a perspective and trying to say, okay, what's our best way forward? How can we motivate and build this person up? And perhaps, again, it's just to mention, okay, just for completion's sake, yes, you did, but maybe the mentor can take him aside and say, hey, I really don't feel like you did a good job, and for your own growth, because I know you're trying to develop these skills, why not give it again, give another speech on this topic, and this is how I can help you. So that's why we can turn it around, make it a more positive thing for them, rather than just saying, no, you messed up, figure it out and give it again. So that's not helpful. So I like the way that we just talk with them and then figure a solution, help them, guide them to that right path so that they can move forward. Henry, if you have a question here, can you give the mic? Yes? Yes.
I just want to reiterate what Rob said and share my own opinion with you all. The members, if they're not completing the speeches to a level that perhaps we think that they should be, they're only doing themselves an injustice. So yes, we can offer advice and evaluations, and perhaps you should recomplete it. But if they do want to complete it at that standard and progress, that's their choice, and it's their pathway. It's their Toastmasters journey, and if that's how they want to progress with their journey, then that's up to them.
Fair enough. Fair call. Do we have a new question, or you want to just bounce on? Okay, a new question here before we go back to the chat. You have a question? No question? Okay, sorry. Let's go back to the chat.
I'll add another comment on that.
Oh, you have another comment? Okay, let's just one last comment before we move on. So Maury has a comment.
I think one of the best evaluations I ever received was, and I hate having my back to some people,
Come on, front.
Using the CRC method, which was, I gave a speech, my evaluator gave me an excellent series of accommodations, made me feel really motivated, and for strategies for improvement, explained how I didn't meet my objectives at all. And with a bit of humor, and then gave me the strategies to improve. So I left that speech with the intent of wanting to do it again. I was very positive because of the good accommodations, and it was shared with the room appropriately. So I think, if we practice our CRC, it doesn't have to be something that is lost at the time when the person presents the meeting. A good evaluation should lift them adequately and should encourage them to do the speech again.
Thank you for that, Maury. That's a good point. So let me just summarize the points that I've been hearing so far so we can move on to the next question. It's essentially, we recommend that if you feel like they didn't meet it, then perhaps just, again, make it known so in the proper context, in the proper evaluations, commendations, recommendations, with the objective to really motivate that person and helping that person do it better next time. And if we can do our jobs properly there, then we can have a situation where, like just Maury, it's incumbent on them. It comes from them themselves that they say, I want to do it again. I want to do it better. And that is the positive thing that we want out of this, rather than just strictly saying, pass or fail. Okay, let's move on to the next question.
Just a quick comment as well before I read
Sure.
a question from the chat. If in one of the level 4, level 5 levels of pathways, there's a leadership component with speech, such as you need to lead
A team?
for 6 months or something.
Yes.
I believe that might be the one case where you might want to require proof of some sort that they have indeed done that objective, because it's not just giving a speech, there's also an additional requirement that has to be met.
Fair enough, yes.
And the question from chat is, if the member does not supply the evaluation sheet from another club when they present a speech, how will you know that they met the objectives?
So if a member has not presented the evidence,
Same question.
yeah, I mean, there's multiple ways to find out to get proof that they actually did complete the project. And again, it's incumbent on the member to provide you that evidence so that you can be satisfied to approve them, whatever it is. So talk with the member. If they're not willing to do that, which I find strange, then have a chat with the officers. If they're dual members, then have a chat with the other officers who they're a member of and see if they're satisfied. Okay? At the end of the day, it's really the member has to satisfy the requirements. That's all. And I don't think that they should be shy or about wanting to prove something. I mean, that's the standard we're all under, just to show evidence. Yes, Henry.
I've got a comment. When I joined Toastmasters 10 years ago, sitting there as a guest, one of the most senior Toastmasters in the club gave an evaluation on another senior member's speech. And when he went up there, he says, I don't know how to evaluate this because I don't think you met your objectives. The whole room was hushed. Mm-hmm. I think it takes a lot of courage, to be honest, to step up there and say, I don't think you met your speech objectives. It does, because we don't want wishy-washy evaluations, of course. Sure. We want people to learn. So it takes a lot of courage to say to somebody, I'm sorry, but I don't think you met your speech objectives. But it's a two-way street. The member must also understand that the feedback is a personal opinion of that particular person. Yeah. So in order for you to grow, do you accept that recommendation and move forward, or repeat the speech, or you don't? So it's again up to the individual choices. Correct. But I must comment on the person that said, I don't think you meet your speech objectives as courageous. Yes. But that's the only way you learn. Absolutely. You need to understand that.
Thank you for that comment, Henry. And again, it's courageous, and I applaud that. But from the speaker's perspective, again, just acknowledge that it is a perspective. It is a perspective, not the perspective. You don't have to be, that's not definitive. Some other person can come up to you later and say, I thought you did great. Yeah. It's a different perspective, and it's up to you as the member to take it upon yourself and think, okay, given these feedbacks, and giving also the way I feel about how I did my preparation and so forth, what next? Do I feel like the best step for me is to do it again or not? I think we should let that be upon the members, and mentors probably be there to support and encourage them in whatever decision they make. Yes, Robert.
And also with these evaluation sheets, you may have the unfortunate occurrence where you thought the speech really didn't meet the objectives, and the evaluator's given them 4 out of 5 on every single requirement. Said, great job. It does happen, unfortunately. All
Yeah,
too often.
it does happen.
It's time to start running workshops in your club on evaluations and how to handle difficult evaluations. Because how else are you going to learn how to do this and help each other unless you hear a good example?
True. All right. Thank you for that. Any more questions so we can move on? That's a good one. Yes.
This might not be a question if your next step is going to explain if you deny the request, can we revise the decision?
Okay, what will happen is if you deny the request, what will happen is that nothing will happen as far as they're concerned. They need to again resubmit when they're ready. So they can again proceed. It's not like a denial and that's it, you're gone forever. It's more like it's just stopping again and they have to resubmit the level completion.
Okay, you answered the question.
Thank you. All right, let's proceed. That was a good discussion. All right, so here's me just providing the comments. Okay, but I actually didn't do it. I didn't go through with that denial. I was just showing us an example that's what you can do. Instead, I'm going to approve it, and I approved it because I was there. I listened to all her 3 speeches. I know she did a great job, and I knew that she did meet the objectives. So I'm then going to put here my own comments saying approved, and there, signing it with my name and my position. Again, for auditing purposes, I'm going to show you where this appears later on so that if ever we do need to do some audits, then you'll know where that is. It's rather obscure. And again, it's not like it gets sent in an email to anyone. Okay? But yes, as a practice, recommend that you do that. And then I'm going to submit. Once I submit it, the record disappears because it's done. It's already done. And yay, yes, exactly, yay, we can move on. We can move on. Okay. All right. Now, what's the next step that you need to do? So, that's part 1. We've done the level of completion request. The member can now go on to their next level in their path. They can progress. That's the most important thing. You just want your members to progress in their Toastmaster journey. The next part that we're going to show to you is how to do the awards, how to then file the awards. And as I reiterate that it's not automatic. Just because you approve it doesn't mean you get to claim the award. I think out of courtesy, it's good to talk with the member and say, are you giving this award to Aspire? Are you giving it to us? And if they say no, then don't take it personally, because people are free to give their awards to whichever clubs that they want. Yes?
So I think it was Robert who mentioned that 90% of the members will belong to this one club.
Exactly.
Only remaining 10% that will belong to more than
Exactly.
How do we know that? So I'm a VP. How do I know that certain members of my club belong to more than one club and they would like to therefore award, give this award to another club?
Okay, that's a good question. So how do you know who in your members in your club are dual members? Well, you could ask them. You can ask the members.
What about the system? Does the system tell us?
The system, does it show on Club Central if they're members?
So
I think.
As a VP need to keep it, and that's fine, that's not a problem. If I know it from the start, so I, as a VP, need to ask them, because it's my first time as a VP.
That's fine, yes, yes.
Okay, and then make a record of it somewhere, and then keep it somewhere safe.
Yes.
And then I'll pass it to another VP. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. So exactly, it's part of trying to get to know your members. I would encourage you as VPEs, the VPs in particular, to really get to know your members, who they are, what are their goals, because mentoring is actually under the domain of the VPE as well, and it's really, you need to know your members. You need to know what their objectives are. You need to know what their goals for the years are, and if they are members of multiple clubs, then that's also a good piece of information to know. I think it's also, again, incumbent on the member as well to out of courtesy, to let you know also proactively that, yes, please approve this, but I'm giving this award to my other club.
In relation to that question, you can establish if you're a dual or not through your vice president membership,
because if the vice president membership has registered you as a dual member, because you don't have to pay the one-off fee, so it's either your VPM or your treasurer, whoever enters the information into the system. That's how you get to know if they're dual.
That's true. Okay.
Started in your club and then went to the other ones.
Yeah, that's right.
Because normally, if you're a dual member,
Yeah.
you're fairly involved and you're strategizing, well, who am I going to give my award to? And you tell them.
You tell them, yeah.
You tell people,
Yeah.
look, I'm not going to give it here because we've already got 3 in this club. I'm going to give it to my other club, who's only got 1.
Okay.
You know, it's an excellent question, but it solves itself just by talking with everybody.
Yeah. So again, reiterating on Rob's point, because for those who on Zoom we can't hear. So it's just about, again, talking with the member. It's really incumbent on the member. They know they're dual members. They know they want to give awards to certain clubs. It's up to them to decide. I think as the Basecamp manager, just out of courtesy, ask them, confirm, are you giving an award to us? Instead of just assuming automatically. Unless you know they're only a member of your club, then you can do so. But if you know they're dual members, out of courtesy, just ask. Say, is it award going to us? And then that's it, yes or no. Now, assuming that the award is going to your club, what do? All right, let me show you what to do. Now we're going to go out of the Basecamp system and we're going to go to the Toastmasters website. We're going to go to Leadership Central. Okay, we're all familiar with this. And then we're going to go to Club Central. At this point, we choose which club we want to do business with. So in my particular case, I chose Aspire Toastmasters. And then under once you click on the club, you have this whole menu of things to do. I showed you earlier the club contact information to update the contacts. But now we're going to look at submitting education awards. Okay, so we're going to go into that section. And once we go into the Submit Education Awards, actually all of you can follow along with me because this one is not down, it's not on an outage, so you can log in right now to your club. You can go click on Submit Education Awards, and then from there you can see a list of all the members in your club. Doesn't matter if they're dual members or if they made you their home club, that's not an issue here. Okay, if they're a member of your club, they're a member of your club. You'll see their names here. Okay?
Sorry, Ray, just a
Yes?
comment from the chat.
Yes.
They say your voice is not very clear when you turn away from the mic.
When I turn away from the mic. Okay, I'm wearing a lapel mic. Let me just see if I can adjust that a little bit. Put it closer to my mouth. Is that better? Hopefully?
I guess we'll find out in a few minutes.
Oh, silly me. It was turned off. No wonder. My apologies. Okay, so that's why everyone's thinking, oh, I sound quite well, but don't worry, I'm actually recording the audio separately in my, that's why you're probably wondering why I'm wearing 2 lapel mics. I'm recording my audio as well on my iPhone, and I'll be syncing the tracks later.
It's got some information in regards to the question about evaluation forms.
Yes.
According to Toastmaster guidelines, evaluation forms are considered private and can't be requested. So a signed agenda is a good way to confirm. If a member is a dual member of another club, under the request external training that Ray mentioned about, you can send a request to that club for a confirmation that a special is completed by a copy of the signed agenda, but you cannot ask for the evaluation forms as it's considered private. There you go.
All right, so it's prohibited. It's prohibited. So that's actually contained in the website itself?
Guidelines. I'll get more information about this straight from Julie in a moment.
Okay.
Do many clubs do meeting minutes after a meeting? Because that would be a really good way of verifying.
Nah.
No.
Sorry. Meeting minutes?
Yep, we do.
Okay, well, good on you. Yeah, that's it. All right, so again, just to point out that, thank you for that's another way. There are multiple mechanisms, so we cannot ask people directly for their evaluation forms. unless they volunteer it, then let's just look at other alternatives. The alternative is to look at agendas and look at talking with the members, talking with VPs of other clubs. Yes, Mario?
Quick one, governance issue. Whether something is private or not, you are allowed to ask. They have the right to refuse.
Fair enough.
You can ask anyone for anything.
Oh, that's fair enough.
You can always say no.
They can always say no, yeah.
Just on agendas.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Oftentimes people won't show up, and so they'll be crossed out on the physical copy of the agenda. And
fair.
If you get an agenda with your name on it and you didn't turn up, what has to happen is the VPEs have to go back into Free Toast or wherever they generated the agenda and alter that original.
Fair enough.
And sometimes they don't bother.
That's true. That's true. Okay, well, there you go. So.
Free Toast Host is great. If you don't use it, it does a lot for you.
Okay, so that's fair enough. So that's another good point that brought up, that yes, people don't show up, so is that definitive proof?
But when it's signed off, like you said, well,
If the agenda is signed off, that means he turned up. If it's not signed off, because normally when we have the actual agenda and it's not there, we cross it off.
But you have to
Yeah.
go back and change it. FTH, if you're using FTH, you have to change it. It gives you a certain amount of time to do that, and then it locks the agenda. You can't alter it.
No, we have the manual printout of the agenda.
And if you didn't turn up, but you've got one with your name on it,
Yes, what I'm saying is if somebody doesn't turn up, we manually cross it off, and then you can sign off the person's name, like Leon, and then sign off, and then you can scan that agenda and send it off, because it was signed off by VPE and change the name to Leon.
you'll have to go back and alter the FTH agenda so it reflects what happened at the meeting. You can't have two disparate copies of an agenda, otherwise the agenda becomes worthless. You must go back after the meeting. If this person didn't turn up, you've got to take them out and put the person who turned up on that agenda. So you have a permanent running record. Also on FTH, if you don't do that, your counter goes out. That person is credited with having done a role on the FTH account, which is automatic, and they didn't do the role. So the whole count goes out. So you must, if there's a change in the agenda on the night, go back and...
They're not using Free Toast.
But they're not using Free Toast. Okay, so just so we don't go off track again. So too much. So in terms of using Free Toast Host, that's a fair call, Leon. That if that's how your club is working, that's your system, then by all means, that's the source of truth. Do what you need to do in Free Toast Host so that serves as an accurate source of truth. But for those who are not using Free Toast Host, you should have your own mechanism, whatever it is, whether it's Word document, Easy Speak, whatever. As long as there's some record of what actually did happen, who did show up, then that's the definitive source. Yes?
In 3 years, I've never heard before that you go in to change the agenda after the meeting. I've just never heard it, and I've never done it.
Do you use Free Toast Host?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I've just never heard it before.
Yeah.
Well,
Next session.
that's probably for next session. So again, we don't want to get too bogged down in that because that's away from Basecamp. But again, it just boils down to, for those using Free Toast Host, do you use it for agendas? Do you consider the agendas there as the source of truth? Then what's it? So I think.
40 more minutes.
Oh.
Is there more important things to talk about?
Sorry, my apologies here. I wasn't plugged in. My battery died now. Silly. We'll have to call our friends in Zoom to just come back. Oh, but the meeting's still on, right, Michael? My apologies to that. I'll just juice up my laptop. But the meeting's still on, right? I just have to join it again.
Yeah, we've still got...
Okay, so let me just. I'll juice them up some more. Any further questions from the floor? We're all good? Okay, so I'm back online. Just logging in. 1%, look at that. Silly. I thought I got everything, all the technical things already pat down. Just didn't plug in. Okay, let me just join the meeting again and share my screen. Michael, would you happen to have the meeting number? It should be in there.
Meeting ID?
Yes.
347.
347.
874.
874.
2817.
2817. Okay. Please just let everyone know there what happened, just in case they're wondering why I stopped sharing.
Yep, doing that.
Okay, joining with computer audio. That's it. Okay, now I'm just going to share again my screen. All right, so we're now back at.
Yep, we're good.
We're good. Fantastic. And we're not good.
And we're dead.
I think we should give my laptop a chance to get some more juice before we start overloading it. Probably the internet connections and the graphics and so forth just sap the remaining life from the battery. It's 11:24. Now would be time for a good break. Let's have a quick 10-minute break, bathroom break, and we'll resume after 10 minutes. Time flies.